Oh, I was, so the question is, where did I get the idea for the Shadowhunters books? And the answer is, I just moved to New York, and I was with a friend of mine who worked in a tattoo parlor on St. Mark's, now sadly gentrified into a market that sells Pocky. Well, what can you do? Basically Pocky, from what I can tell. All kinds of Pocky. And she brought me down there to see her new flash designs, which are the designs that, you know, a tattoo artist is known for, their personal artwork. And it was all based on old runes, and so that caught my imagination. I went home and did some research, and I discovered that Celtic warriors used to paint runes on their bodies to intimidate their enemies, and because they believed that it brought them strength and courage in battle. And I thought, well, how would that work in a modern setting? What kind of, what kind of society? We're obviously talking about a hidden society. What kind of high society are they? Why are they hidden? Oh, well, it must be because they're magic. Who are they fighting? They're fighting demons. I mean, it sort of went like that in a progression, but that was the spark of the idea.
When you're writing a series, is it more difficult to write any one book, or do you kind of look at it as a whole and then have to split it up?
I think the first book is always the most difficult because you're setting up so much. You're setting up the world, you're setting up the rules of the society or the magic or what have you, and you're also setting up the characters. You have to kind of figure them out. Along the way of the first book, in a way where I think the later books are about messing with them, which is which is a different kind of work, but for me, a more fun work.
I think that's true, and also, but the last book of a series can also be very difficult because you have to pay off everything that you've set up. So I think they're difficult in different ways.
Yeah, I think the last book of a series is one of those things where it is always difficult. It can be really difficult if there's something you just figured you would figure out along. If you're like, I'll figure it out. It's gonna be great. Evil is defeated. Somehow.
We would never do that. The question is, do I like Jace or Will better? I like them both equally in different ways. Jace is I've been writing him longer. I feel like I know him better. Writing him feels very easy, like, sort of coming back to something very familiar, and now I've loved developing him over time and watching him change. Will is crazy, and there's a great pleasure in writing a character who is that crazy, because you really don't know what they're going to do, and they can do anything in any situation, and that is fun for me. So there are different ways that I enjoy writing them. I'll agree with me that Will is crazy.
Crazy is a bed bug.
Out of the first three Mortal Instruments books, which was my favorite to write? Oh, and again, these are really hard things to choose. I really loved writing City of Glass. It was a lot of fun. I got to pay off all of the stuff that had been building up, all of the tensions and everything. But there were also things that I really loved about City of Ashes. And City of Bones is, of course, my first book. You have a very special relationship with, I think, with your first book. So, it's hard to answer. I mean, City of Bones, I love. City of Ashes was fun because I got to, deepen the characters and play around with them and do unexpected things. And then City of Glass was fun because I got to finally, resolve all this stuff, and that was great.
Will and Jay, are they related? I know that since the sequel, Will has the same last name as Jay's father stuff.
You are correct. So the question is, are Will and Jace related? Because they do have the same last name. So, yes, they are related. I know you can, in the regular world, you can have the same last name as someone else and not necessarily be particularly closely related. But Arendelle is not that common of a name, and the Shadowhunter world isn't that big, so they kind of have to be related. They would be 5 they're 5 generations separated from one another. And I cannot say more than that about their exact relationship.
Who are your favorite characters in each other's books?
I really like Royben in the Tide series because he always seems so miserable. No matter what happens to him, he's mad about it.
He's had a bad life.
He's like, now I'm king. So sucky. Or I like him. I like him. I'm complimenting him. In Spiderwork, I like Jared because Jared has anger management issues. And Ian, the curse workers. This is bizarre, but I really like Castle's grandfather. Who's my favorite because he always is there with like advice and love, even if his advice is somewhat bad and crazy. Like kill everyone. Then no one will know your secret. But I like that he's there for Castle and nobody else is.
I'm a big Luke fan. Like I'm always looking out for Luke. And you know, whenever we're talking about what's going on in the books, I'm like, how does this affect Luke? How does Luke feel about this? When will Luke get another scene? I'm very invested. I really love him. And I have to say, in the Infernal series, I really love Will. I really love Will. And this is not a shipping thing. This is just truly that I think he is crazy. Like crazy. And there's a scene in the next book that is coming out in which he chases a demon around in a circle at a party. In front of people who are just like, what are you? Oh my god! I love him so much. It's a small circle. It's worse than it's a small circle. Crazier.
In the Uprising, what was like the circle to clave ratio in terms of size?
That's a complicated question. In the Uprising, what was the circle to clave ratio in terms of size? And the answer would be that there were a lot more clave people there than Uprising because the clave had advanced warning and brought in downworld reinforcements to fight it would have been more of an even like 50-50 ratio, but they brought in reinforcements, so they way outnumbered the Uprising people, and that's why they kicked their butts so handily and quickly.
As authors, have you ever been writing for a character and you've gotten emotionally attached to them, and maybe you plan to like end up killing them off or something, and then you feel bad?
Really, I've never met Cass. Doesn't feel bad about anything. I don't think I've ever planned to kill someone and not killed them. But I have gotten attached to characters and given them more scenes and changed the way things went with them. I wrote a graphic novel series called The Good Neighbors, and it was illustrated by an artist, Ted Nafee, and I really love his work. It's really beautiful, and it was about fairies. And the thing I guess I didn't realize when I started it, I wasn't really thinking about it, but the girl, our main character Rue, her grandfather is this fairy guy who comes out, and I didn't realize, that's right, he's a fairy, he's really kind of ageless, and so he drew him like David Bowie. And I was suddenly like, my God, Rue's grandfather is super hot. I have to change his entire arc so he has much more screen time. And I did.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten attached to a character and I wanted to kill them. The only thing I can think of is that I put off killing a character. There's a character who dies in the 3rd book that I was planning on killing in the 2nd book, and I put it off because I thought people hadn't had enough time to get attached to him, so that it would be more upsetting if he died later. Yeah, it really works that way. I enjoy the slaying and killing of characters, culling. You have to do it. I mean, one of the things they tell you, very early on in your writing course is kill your darlings, kill the ones, kill you love the ones, kill what you love the most. I know what it means.